This page is the front cover of 64 magazine, issue 27. It's shouting about being the UK's best-selling N64 mag, and this issue comes with a free solution book. Blimey! Main games splashed across the cover are Ridge Racer 64 and Jet Force Gemini, both being touted as exclusives for the N64. There's a screenshot from Duke Nukem 0 Hour, and a competition to win 10 copies. Right on page 54 apparently. They're calling Ridge Racer the ride of your life, and Jet Force Gemini as Rare's Master Blaster, featuring those colourful characters. Down at the bottom, a few other games are name-dropped like Perfect Dark, Premier Manager, Armorines, Road Rash, Mario Golf, Monster Truck Madness and a few more bits and bobs. Looks like a packed issue for N64 fans back in the day. This page is packed with adverts for cheat services, back in the day when you had to phone up, or even use a fax machine for your game hints. There's the Cheat Master and Cheat Mistress services, offering tips for absolutely loads of N64 games. Looking at the lists, you've got everything from Aero Fighters Assault to Zelda, proper mix there including Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Mario Kart 64, Turok, Wave Race, loads of the big hitters. And there's also a big shout for subscribing to 64 magazine itself, plugging a saving of up to £42, with a cheeky picture of Banjo-Kazooie, grabbing a copy, and promising free solution books if you sign up. Seems like they're really pushing subscriptions in this issue, alongside the cheat services. This page is the contents page for issue 27 of 64 magazine. It's got a big image of Mario front and center, next to some yellow blocky N64 shapes. There's a feature on the E3 preview. Looks like they are giving a first look at games coming out in '99 and 2000, with a couple of screenshots. Also a feature on Armorines, something about alien bugs invading Earth. Then you have the review section headlined by Duke Nukem 0 Hour, and they are even giving away 10 copies. Cheeky. Alongside that are reviews for All-Star Baseball 2000 and NBA Pro 99. The rest of the page lists the contents. 64 sites with titles like Jet Force Gemini, Carmageddon, Tonic Trouble, Lode Runner, Monster Truck Madness, Road Rash 64 and NHL Blades of Steel 99, Premier Manager and Mario Golf. Then regulars like 64 Showcase, and When I'm 64, Subscriptions Info, and a next issue tease. Gamebusters covers Cheat Central, Score Zone, FIFA 99 and Vigilante 8. Finally, Players' Choice lists, F1 World Grand Prix, Mario Kart 64, Lilat Wars, Snowball Kids and Wave Race. All your usual sections in here for a packed issue. This page of 64 magazine is all about the showcase section. Kicking off with Namco announcing Ridge Racer is heading to the N64 in '99, they're making a big deal about it being a proper racer for the console, drawing comparisons to the PlayStation versions and their customization options. Then there's a preview of the new Turok game, now called Turok Bloodlust. It's being described as a deathmatch-style game using bots, AI enemies that are meant to be smarter than your usual cannon fodder, and they reckon it's going to be like Quake 2i but on the N64. There are some screenshots showing the game in action. Lastly, they are previewing Die Hard Trilogy for the N64, saying it's based on the Die Hard films and will be quite an experience. They mention Blockbuster Video is doing a rental scheme where you can try before you buy, and that Die Hard has been mentioned in their Game Watch section for a while now, so it's been in the works. Apparently, you'll be playing as Bruce Willis's character dealing with terrorists and delivering one-liners. Down the side, there's a little bit about Blockbuster's rental scheme, and some staff profiles in a Class of Nukem High section, featuring Andy McDermott as Capitalist Pig, Roy Kimber as Savage Grunt, Ben Lawrence as Custer, Nick Trent as Evil Duke, and Nick Roberts as Enforcer. Sounds like some in-jokes there. This page covers a variety of gaming news. Radical Dudes reports on the departure of GoldenEye developers from Rare, potentially impacting the release of Perfect Dark. Evil Expands highlights the impressive size of Resident Evil 2 on a 512 megabit cartridge. Olympic Games previews The Young Olympians, an adventure game. E3 Stop Press announces Nintendo's lineup, including Perfect Dark, Eternal Darkness, and Pokémon Stadium. Gizmos and Gadgets reviews the Joytech expansion, Rampack, and the Rage 32 64th Shock 2 wheel, both receiving high ratings. News Nuggets discusses a potential N64 bundle with Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. DMA, design ceasing work on the N64 version of Wild Metal Country, and the ongoing delay of the 64DD. Other sections include a contest for a Mirage Pad controller and advertisements for various gaming publications, including a humorous advert featuring Zelda. Game Watch previews upcoming N64 releases. May boasts a variety of titles, including Castlevania 64 and Duke Nukem 0 Hour. June is equally packed with games like Earthworm Jim 3D. July and beyond promise games such as Donkey Kong 64 and Perfect Dark. A date to be confirmed section lists games like Banjo-Tooie, some of which never materialized. The magazine charts reveal FIFA 99 at number 1, followed by Star Wars, Rogue Squadron. Nintendo's Player's Choice re-releases are criticized for their price. Finally, 2 competitions are advertised, one offering prizes like a Game Boy Color and a Dreamcast, and another for a game voucher, requiring chart predictions. This page is the letters page, titled When I'm 64, featuring reader opinions and responses from the magazine. One reader, Poster Poser, wants posters given away separately to avoid damaging the magazine. Great Scott is puzzled how Smash Bros. And WWF Warzone were rated when Smash Bros. Wasn't out yet. Cheeky question about time travel there. Keeps on trying complains about people obsessing over mint condition magazines. Blatant blagger is after freebies, asking for old magazines, posters and demo games. Waffle Bore Drone critiques a Starshot, Space Circus Fever review, arguing review should reflect personal opinions, not just objective facts, and reckons the reviewer was too harsh calling Banjo-Kazooie rubbish. Bondage compares Zelda to GoldenEye, finding GoldenEye superior despite Zelda engrossing him initially, and brings up other races like Fev-Zero X and Mario Kart. Sad Chancer questions the authenticity of reader letters, suspecting they might be fabricated. Finally, Platform Schmatform expresses boredom with platformers, finding them repetitive compared to racing and shoot-'em-up games, mentioning titles like Super Mario and Banjo-Kazooie. There's a Star Prize competition, offering a hefty bundle of N64 kit, worth £170, including a steering wheel, universal adapter, joypad, memory cards, a jolt pack and cables. Screenshots include a retro-styled prehistoric Mario image, a GoldenEye multiplayer split screenshot, and Starshot, Space Circus Fever gameplay. This page is a preview feature titled, Hooray for Hollywood, anticipating the mega games being showcased at the Los Angeles E3 show. It kicks off by mentioning E3 as the world's biggest video game show, held at the Los Angeles Convention Center, name-dropping Face/Off and Rush Hour to highlight Hollywood's fame. The page previews several upcoming N64 titles. Perfect Dark is touted as the most anticipated game, winning a recent Reader Award. It's described as coming from the GoldenEye team, a futuristic secret agent shoot-'em-up, with corporate skullduggery and space aliens, boasting faster action, new weapons, and a much-enhanced 4-player deathmatch compared to GoldenEye, suggesting it will be the big game of '99. Next up is Revolver, shrouded in mystery, with nothing known except its November release and Nintendo Publishing hinting it's one to watch. Donkey Kong 64 is featured, tracing Donkey Kong's history from Mario villain to animated series hero, now heading to the N64 courtesy of Rare. Details are scarce, but E3 is expected to reveal all. Banjo-Tooie from Rare is another game kept under wraps, with E3 anticipated to explain the mystery surrounding the game and how playing Banjo-Tooie unlocks secrets in Banjo-Kazooie. Finally, Jet Force Gemini is introduced as the first of Rare's several games for the year, a shoot-'em-up featuring twins Juno and Vila and their dog Lupo blasting insect scum with interesting weaponry. Screenshots show gameplay from Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Tooie, and Jet Force Gemini. This article previews several upcoming N64 games. 12 Tales. Conquer 64 has been delayed and rewritten. Earthbound, a traditional RPG, has moved from 64DD to cartridge. Star Wars, Episode 1 Racer, expands a film sequence into a Wipeout-style racer. Earthworm Jim 3D, despite delays, is nearing completion with quirky humor. A new Metroid is in development, aiming to rival Perfect Dark. Resident Evil 2 for N64 promises enhanced visuals and gameplay. Command & Conquer will be the first strategy game on the console. F1 World Grand Prix 2 promises improvements over its predecessor. Finally, Quake 2 offers fast-paced action with improved graphics and multiplayer modes. This page previews several upcoming N64 games. Gauntlet Legends, a reimagining of the arcade classic by Midway, promises updated graphics and gameplay. Rainbow Six, a strategic action title from Nintendo, could impress if the complex gameplay translates well. Pokémon Stadium 2 aims for improvement, while Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko features more platforming parodies. Battletang X2 from 3Do offers tank combat with improved graphics. World Driver Championship from Midway/Boss aims for impressive visuals. Grand Theft Auto, a controversial title from Take-Two, is coming to N64 with potential cuts. Pokémon Snap offers a unique photo safari experience, and Pikachu allows interaction via a microphone. Finally, Harrier 2001, from Video System, looks promising with a blend of simulation and action. Upcoming N64 games include a multiplayer-focused Turok Bloodlust and Mortal Kombat, Special Forces, an adventure game starring Sonya and Jax. South Park 2 is also anticipated, hoping to improve upon the first game's shortcomings. A sports game section highlights titles like ISS 99, NFL Blitz 2000, and Tiger Woods 2000. Several games from last year's E3 are still unreleased, including 12 Tales, Conquer 64, and Perfect Dark. Turok 3 is planned for 2000. Ogre Battle 3, a strategy game, and Armorines, a shooter using the Turok 2 engine, are also in development. Daikatana, a first-person shooter from John Romero, promises a time travel plot. Winback is aiming to be the N64's Metal Gear Solid. Finally, Vigilante 8, Second Offense promises more action and funky 70s style. Armorines, a new N64 shooter from Probe Entertainment using the Turok 2 engine, is previewed. The game's plot involves alien bugs invading Earth, with players as Armorines in battlesuits. Inspired by Starship Troopers and manga, the game features a single or co-op story mode with male/female Armorine options, and a 4-player deathmatch mode. Project Executive Manager Mike Merron confirms a team of 24 working for 15 months, targeting a Christmas '99 release. The game features mission-based levels and promises unique weapons. Screenshots showcase a volcanic level and a menacing queen bug alien. Based on an Acclaim comic, the game will be first-person despite screenshots being third-person, making it a promising Christmas release. This page delves deeper into Armorines, with a feature section interviewing someone called MM, must be one of the developers. They were really focused on making the player feel something, trying to create jump scares and creepy bugs to get under your skin. Apparently they're using the Turok 2 engine, which they admit is a bit of a beast to work with again, but they are aiming to make Armorines look and play differently, and importantly they've managed to squeeze in a cooperative mode, something they wanted for Turok 2 but couldn't quite manage at the time. They reckon scaring players is what they are most proud of achieving so far. The expansion pack will be used like in Turok 2 for a Hires mode. There's talk of follow-ups, mentioning the Armorines comics as a source of future missions, and sequels if this one does well. They're pushing the Starship Troopers bug shooting angle as a reason to buy it. There are a few screenshots showing the bug action and the player character in typical N64 style environments. There's a funny quote about right guard deodorant from the game, and another one mentioning an Egyptian queen bug. On the right side, there is a full-page advert for Castlevania, promising a spine-chilling, blood-curdling, bone-shaking experience, and saying, the N64 gets gruesome. That's Konami pushing their horror game, box art and logos, all present and correct. 64 site previews upcoming games, starting with Jet Force Gemini, a new space opera from Rare. Players control a team of 3, twins Juno and Vela, and cyborg dog Lupus, battling bug enemies led by Mizar. Each character has unique skills for puzzle solving and combat. The game promises plenty of action, with diverse enemies and hover racing. Other games highlighted include Carmageddon, Tonic Trouble, Load Runner, Monster Truck Madness, Road Rash 64, NHL Blades of Steel, Player Manager and Mario Golf. Jet Force Gemini, published by Rare, is slated for a July release. This page previews Jet Force Gemini further, highlighting its cooperative play and 4-player deathmatch modes, calling it caring, sharing, killing. They mention the enemies are no mugs, boasting high AI and tactical no-ness. In close combat, the camera helpfully shifts behind your character. Originally slated for March, the release has been pushed back to July. There are screenshots showing various gameplay scenes, including thrilling neon tube action in first-person view, and another showing Juno in a close encounter with an interesting-looking creature. The right side of the page is an advert from Gameplay, pushing their lowest prices on 64 consoles and games. They list console bundles with Mario 64, Zelda 64 and Turok 2, along with individual game prices for a massive selection of N64 titles, from 1080 Degrees Snowboarding to Yoshi's Story. They've got accessories like rumble packs and memory cards, plus hint books and cheat cartridges. Gameplay are offering a money-back guarantee and free 48-hour courier delivery, and they also deal in Second Games pre-owned titles, all tested for quality apparently. They're keen to emphasize their service with a sales hotline and order form. This page is about Carmageddon 64. Looks like they finally got a decent version of it in the 64 magazine offices. They weren't too impressed with the early builds, said it was a bit bare and slow, but this one sounds much better. They mention proper scenery now, and loads of deranged opponents to race against and squish. Apparently, the story's all about zombies taking over due to pollution, and your racing in this post-apocalyptic world seems a bit mad, but that's Carmageddon for you. Shoring. There's a bit about customizing your cars too, showing off how you can see the wireframe model, and then add the skin to it, which is quite clever. And they've got a list of power-ups. Some of the usual Carmageddon craziness like glued zombies to make them easier targets, lunar gravity for massive jumps, and zombie electro ray to fry zombies nearby. Then there's mad zombies to make them chase each other, slaughter mortar, zombie annihilator, opponent repulsificator, 5 free recovery vouchers for repairs, and double extra armor, and double extra everything to beef up your car. Sounds like they've packed it with all sorts to keep you entertained. The next page delves deeper into Carmageddon 64, looking at how the damage to the cars is rendered. Apparently it's all wireframe models, and clever mapping to show the vehicles getting smashed up, which sounds pretty nifty. They've got screenshots showing the wireframe and the finished car, and then the in-game damage, all looking suitably chaotic. Then there's a section called Pretty as a Picture, mentioning the concept paintings used for the vehicles in Carmageddon 64, showcasing some of the artwork, proper concept art mind you, for some of the vehicles like a futuristic blue racer, and a monster truck-style digger, and a red hot rod, giving you a glimpse into how the game's vehicles were envisioned. This page shines the spotlight on Tonic Trouble, Ubisoft's upcoming 3D adventure game for the N64. Reckon it's trying to muscle in on that platforming action we all love. It's all about Agent Ed, a purple alien dwarf who's accidentally knocked over a bottle of tonic, causing chows on Earth, turning veggies into psychotic killers apparently. The preview talks about Ed needing to save the day, starting off weaponless and getting stronger as he goes, gaining abilities, and even turning into a Hulk-like big fella. They mention it's like Super Mario 64 in style, and you'll be solving puzzles and fighting bosses. Apparently, one power-up is magic popcorn, which turns you into Super Ed. The story begins with Ed on a mountain, after his ship drops him off and he's got to get down by sledding. Sounds a bit like a minigame to me. Then he meets Susie, who needs help rescuing her dad, the Doc, from these vegetable monsters. There's a section highlighting a puzzle called Brawn Over Brains, where you've got to rescue the Doc by luring a guard, using popcorn, and grabbing a stick to free him. Seems straightforward enough. Another puzzle mentioned is about a giant cat that you need to get under. Sounds a bit odd. It's down as being published and developed by Ubisoft, and it's set for a UK release in September '99. This page continues the look at Tonic Trouble. It starts by showing a map called The Battlefield, outlining the areas Agent Ed will be exploring. Locations like North Plain, Pyramid, Doc's Cave and Vegetables HQ are all marked out. Then there's Aliens Log, which talks about a puzzle involving a chasm near Vegetable HQ, and using a log as a bridge. Apparently, in older versions, portals were a bit of a nightmare, sucking you in when you didn't want to go, but they've sorted that out now with shimmering domes to show their boundaries. Toaster Tantrums highlights some manic toasters firing toast at you. Classic platforming enemies, eh? The screenshots show a boss battle, looks like one of those toaster fellas, who's apparently called Susie, and the magazine compares it to a Crash Bandicoot-style boss fight. Finally, Cream That Corn details a boss encounter with an angry corn cob. You've got to deflect corn back at it, which is shown in a series of screenshots. They reckon the camera is still a bit of a pain, but not as bad as the likes of Chameleon Twist or Castlevania. Overall, the article says the puzzles are making more sense now, and the game is shaping up to be a decent 3D adventure. They're looking forward to giving it a proper review in a future issue. This page is a preview of LoadRunner 3D within the 64 site section. It's touted as a 3D update to the classic puzzle platformer. The gameplay involves navigating maze-like 3D levels as the Loadrunner, who's like an intergalactic gold miner, and you're tasked with collecting gold and avoiding monks who are henchmen of the villainous Emperor Monk. A key gameplay mechanic is the gun, which is powerful but only blasts blocks directly in front and recoils, requiring careful use, especially near ledges. You need to collect a set amount of gold to activate teleports to finish each level, and the difficulty ramps up with more complex puzzles as you progress. Gameplay elements include bombs to destroy blocks and anti-gravity lifts. It's from publisher Infogrames, developer Big Bang, with a UK release in June. The preview suggests it's surprisingly addictive, despite initial appearances of simplicity, and mentions a full review will follow in the next issue, calling it a classic blast from the past. Character-wise, you've got the hero, the villainous Emperor Monk, and his standard and jetpack-equipped henchmen. Monster Truck Madness, published by Rockstar Games and developed by Edge of Reality, is a promising game with a UK release date yet to be announced. The early version boasts impressive graphics, detailed trucks with reflective windows, and diverse tracks including islands and woodland environments. The game features 21 trucks, with one police truck, and includes power-ups like turbo boosts, super jumps, and missiles. Players can enjoy various camera angles, including an in-car view, variable weather conditions, including snow that accumulates and affects gameplay, and different times of day add realism. Several tracks are available, with one playable in 4-player mode. The handling of the monster trucks is praised. Battle modes, such as staying in a ring, are also included. Overall, the preview highlights an impressive early build and anticipates more features. The next page has a look at Road Rash 64, proclaiming it's one rash that requires no ointment. It kicks off by reminiscing about the original Road Rash on the Sega Mega Drive and how this new iteration for the N64 is aiming to recapture that brutal motorcycle combat. They highlight the core gameplay loop of racing and battering opponents with weapons, which is still very much the focus. The big news is the 4-player mode, which is a first for the Road Rash series on consoles, and is hyped up as a real selling point. There are screenshots showing off the in-game action, weapons like baseball bats and wrenches, and even cows getting in the way. Little captions under the screenshots add some humor with biker banter. There's a section called Easy Riders, which pokes fun at the character designs, describing them in a tongue-in-cheek way, highlighting their over-the-top looks. Give them some stick and have a quiet chat. Sections showcase snippets of in-game dialogue, emphasizing the aggressive biker attitude. Tough Meat draws attention to the cows, suggesting they are pretty tough obstacles. We also get the key details. It's from Pacific Power and Light and THQ, and due out in the UK in September '99. Overall, it sounds like they are pretty excited about this new Road Rash. Road Rash 64, subtitled 64 Site, highlights its development, showcasing bike design from sketches to 3D models. A key feature is the 4-player mode, a first for console Road Rash games. The game retains classic elements like weapons, hammers, pool cues, and combat. New additions include hot biker chicks and police presence, with patrol cars and playable officers. A rap sheet tracks player notoriety and police reactions. Gangs are now called clubs. Other sections detail the police's use of weapons, gameplay tips from Bernard, and a humorous feature where knocked-off bikes seek revenge. The game emphasizes fun, particularly with the 4-player mode. Warrant. This page showcases NHL Blades of Steel 99 for the N64, posing the question, dare you face the flashing blade? Konami is bringing out this ice hockey title in August. The preview mentions it features 27 American and Canadian teams plus 2 all-star squads. They've aimed for authenticity, replicating stadiums, and even light shows as teams enter the rink. The game apparently tries to balance arcade speed with realism, though it suggested the pace might still feel a bit sluggish compared to real ice hockey. The graphics are described as keeping the speed up, even if they are a bit basic. There's a section called The Management, talking about team management and strategy options. The Anaheim team is mentioned as being like the Mighty Ducks from the films. It questions if Konami's game can compete with the likes of NHL Breakaway and esports NHL games, and whether ice hockey will ever truly take off in Britain. Alongside the game preview, there's an advert for new age consoles, listing prices for PlayStation, Nintendo UK and import games, Dreamcast and accessories, you know the sort of thing. There's also an odd advert for Matchmaker Television and Film, offering a chance to get into television for £99. Finally, a smaller advert for Game Set and Play gives a phone number and lists deals on 64 bundles and pre-owned games, plus lists of pre-owned 64 and Game Boy titles with their prices, and a short list of console accessories. This page is all about Premier Manager 64, asking if can you do better than Keegan? It's previewing this management sim, noting it's an updated version of the PlayStation game, Premier Manager 99. Apparently, they're offering up-to-date squads for all 92 English League clubs and current European teams, so you can really get stuck in with any team you fancy. The article mentions it's meant to be easy to get into, guiding you to league success, but it's also supposed to be challenging. You're responsible for everything, from tactics to finances, even down to the bovril. Financial management is highlighted as important, just as much as training players, and there's a screenshot showing the finance screen. It also mentions Cambridge United versus Darlington as a third division match, suggesting you'll start lower down the leagues. They talk about the League Cup being a key early competition to get through. The game uses the Actua Soccer 3 engine for match highlights, which is interesting. Barry Davies will even be offering commentary, which is a nice touch for atmosphere. It's mentioned that this is the first management game of its kind on the N64, and they reckon it'll be a big success. The UK release is slated for November 99, published by Activision. There are also screenshots showing match action, the top team selection screen, and a pre-season friendly match listing. Oh, and there's a little sidebar mentioning West Bromwich Albion getting hammered by Oxford. Tough times for the Baggies. Mario Golf for the N64 is touted as a top-tier golf game, free of distracting advertisements. Featuring Nintendo characters like Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach and Yoshi, players can unlock more characters across 6 Nintendo-themed courses. The game promises realistic physics and a unique target shot mode. While the UK release is set for October, importers hope to get a sneak peek sooner. The preview highlights character details, with humorous descriptions like Mario's short legs and Luigi's perpetual second fiddle status. Developed by Camelot and published by Nintendo, the game's screenshots showcase bright visuals and include playful references. This page delves into a cluster of game reviews, with Duke Nukem 0 Hour taking center stage. It's a full-page spread for Duke, showcasing the iconic chap himself and a screenshot of the gameplay. The review is peppered with ninfo boxes, explaining aspects like player count and Rumble Pack support. They also have boxes covering PAL performance, import info and memory options. Alongside Duke, there are smaller boxes reviewing a handful of other titles. We've got All-Star Baseball 2000 and NBA Pro 99, both bringing American sports to the N64. Then there's Form World Grand Prix for the racing fans, Mario Kart 64, Lilac Wars, Snowboard Kids for some winter sports fun, and Wave Race for jet ski action. The page also clarifies their review scoring system. It breaks down the ratings into categories: graphics, audio, gameplay, and challenge, marked with little cube icons ranging from top marks to complete rubbish. The overall score is a percentage, with 95% plus being gold medal award territory, and anything below 10% being, well, something best avoided. They even explain what all the buttons on the N64 controller do, for those who might be a bit confused by it all. The next page is a full-page review dedicated to Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64. They reckon it's a welcome break from all those tedious racing games. The review highlights Duke's return with his signature alien bashing and cheesy one-liners. They mention the gameplay involves killing things and keeping playing, emphasizing the addictive nature of the game. They also point out some cool touches like smashing doors piece by piece and the death animations, though they do say it's not as gory as Turok 2. There are screenshots showing the gameplay, including scenes set in Victorian England and snowy New York. The review mentions the time-traveling plot, where Duke needs to collect time machine parts to save the future. In a £64,000 question box, they list the game's pros as being fast, having a good control system, action-packed gameplay, amusing soundbites, and a frantic deathmatch mode. The cons are listed as visuals not being stunning, bosses getting tedious, and a lack of save points. There's a ninfo box detailing game info like it being for up to 4 players, expansion pack compatible, and Rumble Pack compatible. It was published by GT Interactive and developed by Euro.com, a shoot-'em-up game from the UK, slated for a May release, priced at £44.99. Memory options mention controller pack to store game positions. It's positioned as a sizzler in the magazine, suggesting it's a top pick. Duke Nukem 0 Hour features surprisingly good controls, including easy strafing, laser sights, and auto-aim. Duke is now agile, capable of jumping, climbing, and swimming, though mostly he shoots. The time-traveling storyline, where Duke collects time machine parts, adds depth. The graphics, while polygonal and an improvement over earlier versions, are compared to Turok 2 but with less impactful death animations. The reviewer calls the game groovy, citing expansion pack compatibility which improves visuals, though textures are criticized as repetitive and the levels are dark. Puzzles are simple, with the help of an inventory pocket TV. The biggest problem? Cleaning brain matter off your boot. A key feature is the deathmatch mode. Similar to GoldenEye, players unlock additional dukes as they play. The review also highlights tips. Soldiers can help, and timed missions add challenge. The atomic health item returns to boost Duke's health. This page features a review of Duke Nukem 0 Hour, proclaiming it to be refreshingly playable. It highlights the deathmatch mode, called Faces of Death, with 29 characters unlocked by completing the single-player game. They've shown the bottom-line controls for the N64 pad and suggest GoldenEye and Turok 2 as alternatives. The review rates the game highly with an overall score of 90% and praises the graphics, audio, gameplay, and challenge. The soundbite quote is, "Riotous fun with a very big gun." There's also a competition to win copies of the game, with questions about what Duke wears on his eyes, who his main enemies are, and his catchphrase. You had to send a postcard with the answers to the magazine's address to enter. All-Star Baseball 2000 for N64 is a sports game offering a realistic baseball experience. The review highlights features like powering up swings with the B button. Key details include publisher acclaim, developer Iguana, and a price of £39.99. The game boasts authentic teams, grounds, and players, especially appealing to baseball fans. Gameplay includes lineup management, custom player creation, and controller pack save functionality. The controls are extensive and vary between batting and fielding. While praised for its presentation and graphics, the game received some criticism for its difficulty and limited commentary. The review gives the game a solid 85% rating, noting improvements over the previous year, with a soundbite that states it's an improved version of a niche game. This page features a review of NBA Pro 99 from Konami for the Nintendo 64. The reviewer seems a bit underwhelmed, giving it an overall score of just 59%. They mention updated rosters as a positive, and appreciate the in-depth managerial aspects, team customization, and replay features. However, the control is criticized as slow and jerky, the camera angles are problematic, and the graphics are described as hazy and blurry. It's not exactly capturing the excitement of basketball apparently. There's a diagram of the N64 controller, showing the in-game controls. Alternatives like NBA Courtside and NBA Jam 99 are suggested as better options. The review also notes it supports the Rumble Pack and Controller Pack for saving team stats and league progress. The final verdict is pretty harsh, calling it a pointless and banal basketball game. Not a glowing recommendation then. F1 World Grand Prix receives a 94%, hailed as a realistic and replayable simulation of the '97 Formula One season. The review praises its attention to detail, including real courses, cars, teams, and drivers, with high marks for graphics, audio, gameplay, and challenge. The reviewer notes the difficult controls, but suggests mastery is rewarding, though it's not for the easily frustrated. Mario Kart 64 scores a 78%, with the review focusing on its strength in 4-player mode. It's seen as flawed in single-player, even compared unfavorably to GoldenEye. The review suggests the SNES version is superior, and the game's scores are lower across the board compared to F1. This page features a couple of cracking reviews, both players' choice titles mind you. First up is Lilat Wars, which as any seasoned gamer knows, is Star Fox 64 over here. They're raving about it being one of the top N64 shooters. Proper non-stop action they say. Loads of imagination, different combat zones, and movie-like bits. They even mention the Blue Marine sub, for the underwater bits naturally. Controls are laid out, showing the fire buttons, bank and roll, and bombs. Alternatives mentioned are Rogue Squadron and Forsaken. Cracking scores all round, especially for graphics and gameplay, and an 87% overall. Visually stunning shooter with lots to destroy, is the soundbite. Spot on. Then there's Snowboard Kids, a totally different beast. They reckon it's proper arcade fun, not like the more serious 1080 degrees snowboarding. Bombing your rivals and nicking their cash sounds right up my street. They say it's great fun, especially multiplayer, and easy to get into. Controls for jumps, stunts, and weapons are there. Alternatives are 1080 degrees snowboarding again, and Snowboard Kids 2. Another solid score of 83%, with graphics and gameplay again getting top marks. Frosty fun, especially for several players. They've called it, can't argue with that. This page features another player's choice review. This time it's Wave Race 64. They're calling it one of the earliest and still one of the best N64 games, likening it to aquatic predecessor of 1080° snowboarding, which is a fair shout, both Nintendo titles and solid. They reckon on hard mode it's properly challenging, needing you to adjust to the wave changes constantly. Graphically they mention seagulls, killer whales and penguins, classic Nintendo charm. Downsides they say are first-gen 64 graphics issues, and the PAL version being a bit sluggish, common issues back then. They do say two-player is a laugh. Alternatives given are Diddy Kong Racing and 1080° snowboarding again. Scores are good across the board, landing an 83% overall. Wet and Wild action, that's a long-term challenge, is their soundbite. Then there's an advert for a Nintendo 64 Gold guidebook. Claims over 480 pages of solutions and cheats for loads of games, including Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye, Mission Impossible, Banjo-Kazooie, MK4, Forsaken, and Quake. Says it's got an as of cheats and codes for all the latest games too, and it's a bargain at £14.95 and includes a free memory card, ready to pack with cheats apparently. Order form and details for postage are included. Cheat Central for the N64 features a variety of game-specific cheats. All-Star Baseball 2000 offers cheats for faster running, lizard teams, and super fastballs. California Speed has numerous car unlocks like the forklift car and camper truck, plus track unlocks and fog color adjustments. Wipeout 64 provides unlimited energy and ammo, as well as track, weapon, ship and challenge mode unlocks. Chameleon Twist 2 allows alternate costumes. F1 World Grand Prix includes driver name changes that unlock circuits, drivers, a gallery, and credits. Finally, Lilac Wars includes cheats for title screen changes and gameplay modes like Landmaster and Play on Foot in Versus mode. This page of 64 Magazine's Cheat Central kicks off with Snowboard Kids, mentioning a cheat code to unlock all the characters and courses, entered at the title screen using a series of analog stick and button presses. Apparently a laugh confirms correct entry. Cheeky! Next up, it's Mario Kart 64, with some handy tips. There's a banana peel recovery trick to avoid spinning out, a tip for unlocking mirrored courses by winning the Gold Cup on 150cc, and a turbo start guide. Plus, they reveal the secret route to Mario Castle on Royal Raceway. Cool-y. Then it's Wave Race 64, with a bunch of tips too. Turbo start for a quick getaway, fast recovery for getting back on your jet ski quickly after a spill, color select to change character colors, small jumps for ramps, and instructions on how to ride baby dolphins and perform dolphin stunts, like handstands and spins in Dolphin Park. They also mention the killer whale and penguin locations, and how to unlock reverse mode for backwards courses. Over on the right, there's an advert for 64 Solutions magazine itself. It's boasting 132 pages packed with N64 cheats and tips for loads of games, including Castlevania, Wipeout, Glover, Vigilante 8, Monaco, and SDC.ARS. Apparently they've got full game maps and all the latest cheat codes, plus it's an order form for subscribing to the mag. 64 Magazine Score Zone highlights top N64 players and their high scores across various games. F1 World Grand Prix records include circuits like Albert Park and Hockenheim, with Sam Doyle and Chris Dunn. Top Gear Rally Time showcase Jason LaRosa and Chris LaRosa. Snowboard Kids features Kevin Keeney and Rob Pierce. Wave Race 64 highlights Alan Dundas and Charles Nuttall. GoldenEye 007 has Danny Dunn and Michael Williams. Star Wars Rogue Squadron showcases Richard Dunn. Vigilante 8 Survival Mode is led by Paul Nichols. Space Station Silicon Valley has Mathis Tenham. Blast Corps is led by Mark Nichols. Wetrix features James Ellis and Mans Eriksson. Extreme G has John Burrows. Yoshi's Story sees Danny and Richard Dunn. Shadows of the Empire records include Matthew Stevenson and John Brennan. Nagano Winter Olympics shows John Quarry and Simon Morehouse. Players are encouraged to submit their high scores with video proof to get published. Yuka. The Score Zone in 64 magazine highlights N64 high scores across various games. F-Zero X showcases top times on circuits like Mute City, with Richard Dunn and John Brennan leading. Banjo-Kazooie scores are dominated by Kevin Keeney and Generic Spangberg. Mario Kart 64 records on Luigi Raceway and Kalimari Desert are held by Jeffrey Vanderaar and Alan Dundas. Diddy Kong Racing, Quake 64, and Turok are also featured. The Legend of Zelda section focuses on challenges, with Mark Nicol and Mathis ten Ham excelling. Fighters Destiny's records belong to Ben Atkinson and Generic Spangberg. Mischief Makers and Tetrasphere have scores from players like Scott Fort William and Gavin Brennan. WWF Warzone and 1080 Degrees Snowboarding are included, with Alan Dundas and Ryan Stevenson among the top snowboarders. The magazine also mentions an Ultimate Player competition, with a potential prize of a Trident pad and memory card. Depty, a mail-order game retailer claiming to be number one, is advertising its services. They buy and sell games, including consoles and PC parts, offering cash or exchange options for your old games. They heavily promote Nintendo 64 games, boasting the best sellers at the lowest European prices. The ad lists a wide selection of second-hand N64 games across various genres like 3D shooters, Doom 64, GoldenEye, platformers, Banjo-Kazooie, racing games, Diddy Kong Racing, and sports titles, FIFA, Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey. They also offer other stuff, like Pilot Wings 64, Game Boy Color games, and collectibles like Metal Gear figures. Depty provides free delivery for qualifying orders, and next-day delivery for orders placed before 6:30 p.m. They accept various payment methods, including checks, postal orders, and major credit cards. Contact details are provided at the bottom of the ad. This guide provides essential tips for playing FIFA 99 on the N64. The basic skills section covers player switching, using the pass indicator, off-screen passing, one-time passes, shielding the ball, and managing sprinting. General tips recommends normal speed and amateur difficulty for beginners, emphasizes building play from the back, staying calm, using through passes for counter-attacks, creating extra space with passes, utilizing the goalie charge, employing standing tackles, and avoiding close control near the keeper. Further tips include using skill moves, counter tackles, effective player switching in multiplayer, shooting for rebounds, keeper positioning, adding spin to set pieces, adjusting aggression in professional mode, subbing injured players, using visual indicators, adapting formation, passing directionally, faking out defenders, and monitoring player fatigue. This guide aims to provide a comprehensive overview for players. GRE FIFA 99 tactics cover a range of skills. Basic skills include head flicks, spins, lateral moves, hurdles, stepovers, and diving for fouls. Intermediate skills involve probing the center, passing/crossing/lobbing, and spectacular set pieces. Advanced tactics focus on countering CPU strategies, using formations to outnumber opponents, wingback runs, through runs, defensive pressure, the offside trap, passback mode, and intelligent passes. EA Sports 10 quick tips offer advice on the game, such as being wary of star players, using hurdles on diving keepers, chip shots, and one-time shots. The guide also suggests attacking from the flanks, targeting crosses away from the goalie, probing for gaps, and skill moves. Finally, a cheats box mentions the Atlanta attack team, and a hint for finding a player who might be Ronaldo, but under a different name. The next page offers the second part of the Vigilante 8 playing guide, calling it a funky shoot-'em-up. It mentions this section will cover the last maps for the game, specifically the 3 hidden arenas, one being Super Dreamland 64. There's a map key explaining the color coding on the level maps, with pink for specials, cyan for any weapon, yellow for power-ups, grey for any weapon or power-up, and blue for special or any weapon. The wrench icon marks one-time predetermined weapons or power-ups. The red triangle shows player 1's start point in arcade mode, and in Canyonlands the arrow indicates Boulder Fall direction. Flipping over, this page continues the Vigilante 8 guide, and focuses on the level's secret base set in Nevada. It jokes about conspiracy theorists being right about secret bases with captured UFOs. There's a level map detailing the layout and item locations marked by the color codes we just saw. Gameplay tips highlight avoiding gun turrets, finding a safe passage, and how radar jamming affects weapon systems, advising against using tracking weapons when jamming as they might backfire. One of the screenshots points out a hangar, where you can find the 64 Luxo saucer. This page continues the Vigilante 8 playing guide, covering 2 more levels. First up is Sand Factory, set in Utah, described as an automated factory area good for ambushing other drivers. The map shows a circular layout with various item markers. Tips include using the conveyor belt to jump off, riding the elevator for a special weapon, and watching out for a growing sandpile. Next, we've got Super Dreamland 64, located in California. This one is described as a hidden area, full of cutesy knights and animals that are easy targets, especially the chickens. The map is a square shape with a central island surrounded by a moat. Tips highlight chickens turning into butterflies if shot enough, cannons firing dangerous balls, and a moving rainbow for energy recharge, referencing Dorothy. It also mentions a castle and moat area that teleports you to a well, where you get blasted out. This page is an advert for the Nintendo 64 Secrets, Strategies, Solutions, book series, and back issues of 64 magazine. They are offering strategy guides for titles like Zelda 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Turok 2, and Lilac Wars, as well as broader volumes covering many games including Mario 64, Zelda, Turok, and Star Fox 64. They're also tempting you with back issues of 64 magazine, specifically mentioning issues featuring Star Fox, Banjo-Kazooie, and Yoshi's Story. There's an order form for phone, email, internet, fax, or mail orders. This page is another cracking advert for subscribing to 64 magazine, and it's a mega deal this time. For just £35 you get to pick one of 8 top-end 64 games when you subscribe. They've got some belters on offer: Zelda 64, Turok 2, GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, 1080 Snowboarding, IS-98, Diddy Kong Racing, and F1 World Grand Prix. Not bad, eh? And it gets even better, they're chucking in one of their Secrets, Strategies and Solutions books too, if you go for the Plus deal. You can choose from Zelda 64, the As of Nintendo 64 Volume 2, or Banjo-Kazooie Strategy Guides. They've got all the subscription prices laid out. 6 issues, 12 issues with a memory card, and the 12 issues mega deal, with different prices for the UK, Europe and the rest of the world. There's a form to fill out for your details, subscription length, and payment method: check or credit card. Plus, you can order back issues. They've got a whole load listed from issue 2 right up to issue 26. And at the bottom, there's a section to tick which game and strategy book you want if you go for the mega deal. Seems like a decent offer if you're after the mag and fancy grabbing a game and guide at the same time. This Nindex provides a comprehensive guide to N64 games, reviewed by 64 magazine. It features a key explaining symbols for features like multiplayer, memory pack, and UK release status, along with genre definitions. The index lists numerous games with scores and brief comments, showcasing the magazine's opinions. For instance, 1080 Degrees Snowboarding is praised, while Clayfighter 63 1/3 is heavily criticized. A top 10 list highlights their favorite C64 games, led by Zelda, followed by GoldenEye and others. A bar chart reveals the top UK N64 game publishers, with Nintendo dominating, followed by GT Interactive and Acclaim, demonstrating the industry's major players. The Nindex reviews N64 games across various genres. In shoot-em-ups, GoldenEye tops the list with 95%, followed by Star Wars, Rogue Squadron. Zelda, Ocarina of Time dominates adventure games with 96%. Super Smash Bros. Leads in fighting games with 87%, while Fighter's Destiny is noted as a strong contender. Banjo-Kazooie earns 95% in platform games, slightly edging out Super Mario 64. A Test of Time section revisits older titles, with Turok 2 receiving 85%, Zelda maintaining its 96%, and SCARS scoring 81%. The Best of the Bits section recommends N64 peripherals, including the standard controller, racing wheels and memory cards, to enhance the gaming experience. This page showcases the Nindex with top game charts across different genres. For racing games, the top spots are held by F1 World Grand Prix, Beetle Adventure Racing, and Micro Machines 64 Turbo. In party/puzzle games, Buster Move 2 and its 3DX version lead, followed by Puyo Puyo Sun 64 and Weetrix. Strategy and simulation games are topped by Blast Corps, then Pilot Wings, and Virtual Chess. Sports games are dominated by ISS 98 and ISS 64, with FIFA 99 and NFL Quarterback Club 99 also scoring well. The section 64 Mag's Most Wanted previews upcoming games, including Perfect Dark and Donkey Kong 64 from Rare, plus StarCraft 64, F1 WGP2, the sequel to the top-rated original, and Die Hard, a new adventure for Bruce Willis's John McClane. The page also promotes the N64 expansion pack, explaining how it enhances graphics and AI. Games currently out now that benefit from the expansion pack include Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, South Park, Vigilante 8, alongside NFL Quarterback Club, 99 and Top Gear Overdrive. Lastly, the Coming Soon section lists more upcoming titles, including World Driver Championship, Hybrid Heaven, Perfect Dark Again, Michael Owen's Soccer, Rayman 2, Shadowman, and Quake 2, to name a few. Plenty of good stuff on the way then. This page is shouting about the show of the century from the Los Angeles E3 show. Reckon that's where all the big N64 announcements were made. We've got screen grabs from Perfect Dark, Donkey Kong 64, Jet Force Gemini, Resident Evil 2, Star Wars Racer and Command & Conquer, plus World Driver Championship, Hybrid Heaven, and ISS 99. Looks like all the big hitters are getting a mention. There's a Join the Club special offer. Get yourself loads of magazines, cheats and freebies if you sign up. They've got sections listing Nintendo 64 extras and games for sale. All sorts of bits and bobs like memory cards and rumble packs, and loads of games at various prices. Controllers too, Mad Cat steering wheels, official pads, and some third-party ones. Looks like they are pushing their special reserve with a discount deal £2 off if you buy more than one thing at once. Plus free gifts if you join the club, memory cards, rumble packs, even a Casio organizer. Bit random that. And right at the bottom there's some advert for a color Game Boy and a PC system. Must be trying to cover all bases.